Hey everyone, this is Corey with Sims Investment Management. This is our August monthly update, and I hope everybody's getting ready to have a great Labor Day weekend. I can't believe it's the end of the summer already. Norwood Creamy Whip last night of the year. Can't believe that either. Yeah, it's been a great summer around here at Sims Investment Management. We've got a couple really great and exciting announcements that we'll be unveiling next month. And so I hope everyone's doing well. In regards to the market and some of the things we want to talk about this month, we keep getting a common question, market's at all-time highs, how much higher can it go? Uncertainty is prevalent, whether it be tariffs or geopolitical issues or the Russia and Ukraine war or tariffs or honestly the constant headline whiplash that we get. And I think that it's important. We've talked about this before. This is nothing new. Uncertainty is actually the constant. Sometimes we'll hear clients or prospects say things like, well, we'll invest our money when things settle down. And first of all, that's never going to happen. There's always going to be some type of uncertainty or thing to be worried about. The media will make sure that's a truth. But the other side of that coin, if you think about it, I'm going to wait to invest until things have settled down. Well, in theory, then that would mean that the market has gone up to a higher place because quote unquote things have settled down. And so you would be buying the market at a higher point. And sometimes your best buying opportunities are honestly during a lot of uncertainty. That's why Warren Buffett's famous quote of be fearful when other people are greedy and be greedy when people are fearful. We also keep this question of, well, the market's at all-time highs, how much further can it go? And actually, evidence is on your side there because the market has made many all-time highs. That's why we're making new ones recently. Just because it hits a peak or a new all-time high does not necessarily mean that it's imminently going to pull back. And so when I think sometimes the disconnect all of a sudden becomes connected and people seem to understand this is, remember, we're investing in companies. We're not investing in politicians. We're not investing in the government, thank goodness, right? We're investing in companies. And when you own companies, a piece of their company, like owning stock, you're not gambling. We also get a lot of that. Sometimes people say things like, well, it's just, the stock market's just, a big gambling tool. Unfortunately, apps and the way that the market is now perceived as a lot of gamification of the market where people do think of it as gambling. I can assure you it's not. And I'm going to give you a very brief reason why. When you own the S&P 500, for instance, you own the 500 largest companies in America. And so you own a piece of Apple and Procter & Gamble and Microsoft and Google and Kroger and Exxon. All these large companies are inside the S&P 500. And so when you own that, you are an owner of those companies. So you need to remind yourself, well, do I still see my neighbors and my family and myself and my coworkers still going and buying groceries and going and buying gas? Are they still using their iPhone? Do they still use their internet? All these things that the companies own. And those companies, as they grow, so if Apple comes out with a new product or if Kroger opens up more stores and their earnings go up because they're making more money now, that ultimately flows through to the owners of the company. So just like if you owned a privately held company, you're owning a piece of a publicly traded company. And ultimately your earnings and the growth of the stock and the dividends, which are a piece of the profits that are being paid out, should be returned to the shareholders or owners. Said simply, I had a professor in college that said, I have a lot of friends that complain about the gas price all the time. Instead, I just bought some ExxonMobil stock. And now every time I fill up my gas tank, I go to ExxonMobil gas stations. And so I know that by buying gas at those gas stations, I'm eventually getting some of that money back in my pocket because I'm an owner of ExxonMobil. That is the simplest way to think of it. If you own Kroger stock and you buy your groceries at Kroger, eventually some of that money gets returned to you. The last thing we keep getting asked about is interest rates, and it is suspected that we'll have an interest rate cut or two by the end of the year. Our stance on it is that we hope they don't go too fast because there's still some inflationary pressures that we think need to be worked through the economy. But it probably does make sense and is warranted to have an interest rate cut or two. Certainly not getting back to 0% interest rates, but a much more normalized interest rate environment that the Fed is working towards. Last but not least, we have had several clients get caught up in some phishing scams. Schwab will never send you a text message that you are supposed to click on in a link. If you have questions about an email that was sent to you, please send it over. We can verify it with you, but please be on the lookout. We've had a couple clients. Thankfully, nothing happened, and we caught it, and they notified us. But these scams and these impersonations are picking up. And so if you have any questions, please reach out to us and just be very vigilant. That's it for this month. Hope you have a great rest of your summer, and we'll talk to you in September. Thanks. Hey everyone, this is Corey with Sims Investment Management. This is